Hello and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be talking about that Zettle terminal that we've done a couple of videos on already. I've put some links in, albeit down here. But this video is going to be all about what we found as possibly some shortcomings of the device itself. And with that, we're also going to look at maybe some solutions, maybe ways we can look at it, and also get your feedback and ask for your help in terms of, do we want to go in any deeper on these devices? All right, let's roll the intro and get straight into it. Hello, my name is Patrick. I'm a chartered accountant, a certified UK trainer, fancy new logo, that QuickBooks Chap on the internet, and also head of accounts here at Boffix. Now today we're going to be talking about how this new Zettle terminal has actually really improved some of our clients' lives. Now, we've had it in the wild now for a good few weeks. We've handed it over to some clients. We've had to problem solve with them. We've been lucky enough to be able to find some clients who had real good use cases for it. But we also found some issues with it as well. And that's what this is all about. Trying to show you that it's not all just rosy. There are some things that we need to worry about. Now, in this series of videos where we're looking at these EPOS solutions, we have got an order, the Square Terminal. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel because I think that's a good video you do not want to miss. The idea where we can compare the Zettle Terminal against the Square Terminal, see which one works best overall. So I think we're going to be able to see some great things about that. Now, before we go into Square versus Zettle versus all the other solutions out there, let's make sure we're all 100% au fait with possibly some of the shortcomings from this device as well, so that we're all understanding exactly where we are. So without further ado, let's get straight into it and let's have a look at some of the issues. Now, the first issue that we found with our clients, and it's actually something I've experienced as well just by doing these videos on this channel, is that every so often I'll come and pick up this device and it'll be completely dead. No matter what I do with it, it's just completely dead. The power's gone completely. Now, what seems to be the case is if you leave this for more than, say, 48 hours without any charger connected whatsoever, then actually you'll probably find that this is a bit of an issue and it's completely dead to you. Now, thankfully, I've got the fancy cradle that came with it. And remember this cradle we reviewed before? It's got the little printer on it as well. So really handy piece of device. But I'm actually thinking this is essential to pair with this because it was nice and magnetic, if you remember from the review. And actually, once you magnetize it and it starts charging, make sure you use the included cable or at least a voltage that's close to it, because that's another problem we found. But once you've actually got it charged, then after about an hour or so, you're pretty much up to 60-odd%, which should get you through the rest of the day. So it's definitely not going to be the end of the world, but I think the battery life on this is definitely something that could be better. As an example, I charged this to 100% around about 20 minutes before we start rolling this video. I'm now on 93%. Now you can kind of understand when you think about how much tech is in here. It's constantly looking for internet wireless. It's constantly looking for those for cellular connection as well. So you can see that there's definitely some reasons why it's not holding its charge quite so much. And when I go through the settings and make sure I go through the settings and have a look at what's there, there is a potential for me to be able to find a setting in here that will actually improve the battery life. Like if I go into the setting, there's all these display options. And I can turn display off after 5 minutes, so I can just turn the brightness down. But I've left these at kind of middle and 5 minutes because I thought that was be the best experience for people who are using it. And also what we don't want to do is every time we pick it up having to put that code in. It's not a great experience for your customer. So I do think you need to find a solution for yourself really where you get the right settings in the settings page that's going to actually make it so this device lasts long enough for you. Funnily enough, if you remember, we were looking enough to have both the models, so with the one with the barcode scanner and one without the barcode scanner. And so far, actually, they both seem to have the same battery issues. Now, it could be, again, put the comments in below if you want me to go deep dive in this. We might even be able to do some sort of test where we run both of these at different settings and see what actual real life results we're getting. Now, as I said, it's actually not the end of the world, really, if you're using it in real life, because most of the time it's going to be sat on this little dock anyway. And when it's sat on this little dock, you're going to be absolutely good to go. Speaking of the dock, that's where my next observation comes from. Now, in theory, this idea of having this fancy system here means that when I go in to make a sale, I can then print the receipts directly off here. And that works really, really well. One thing that maybe I was over excited about, and I probably thought was something that was almost a given, was part of me was thinking that this was going to be wireless, with the idea that if I'm out and about and someone requests a receipt, well, I'll just press the receipt button and then this will automatically churn out the receipt. But unfortunately, that's not the case. You see, the bit that charges the device is also the data transfer option of it as well. So the only way for this device to communicate with this is if you've got them together, which you don't really want to be walking around with this device because it's not that ergonomically comfortable. Maybe there's some options with this 2/4 inch here to maybe put maybe a hand to it or something, or grips on there. Again, let us know below if you want us to do any research into that. But I'm just thinking that really the device itself kind of has to have this portable bit, and when you do then walk around with it, you lose the option to charge it, and there's no extra power in here or anything like that. So I kind of stuck with, really, this should be set on the desk. This has the chance to go out and do everything else, but then if you ever need to print for it, you've got to return it to its device to then make the print. All right, so I'm going to try and explain that in a little bit more detail. So imagine I'm out and about now and I'm wandering around and I'm selling something while remote. Now, if I wanted to go and sell this Zettle printer and dock, ironically, and I say, look, let's do £1, add there, and then let's charge it. Now, when I press charge, I'm obviously presented with my CAT payment options. So in this case, I'm going to go and say I want to pay by card, which is fine because I want to pay by card. I can then present to them a card solution. So I'm going to get a card, I'm going to press pay by card, that'll go through. Now, as a customer, I probably want at this point one of the options. So remember that I can send an email and text. So if I'm actually out there and about with the client, then that's fine, I can choose one then. If I choose print, well, there's nothing for it to print to. No printer detected. Check your printer's device or attached, turned on and connect to the internet. So at the moment, it's struggling to find that printer because, again, it's not a wireless device. If I go back to my dock and then press print, so as you can see, when I return back to my dock, the printer's working perfectly. So maybe the scenario is right. Maybe we should be accepting payment, going there, asking them how they want the receipt. If they say text message, email, we could do that directly from the device. If they ask for a print, then we'll have to say, no problem, come back to the main desk and we can get it done from there. And I think that's going to be the best workflow. That's certainly how we're kind of talking to our clients about it and how they're going through. But it's not ideal, is it? Now, obviously, if I get a different type of printer, so if you remember in previous videos, we did that nice little till solution, then no, I can't connect this. You see, that's where sometimes this has a little bit of a problem because you're kind of restricted about what hardware fits perfectly with here. Really, you have to go to the settings, have a look at general. See, then we're coming to the other consideration we found. There's very little hardware that actually connects directly to here. So ideally, I would want another printer. Well, if I go to my selected printers, the only one that's coming up is the terminal receipt. So I do have a printer available, but with it only being that one item, no Bluetooth, and I don't believe this even has Bluetooth built in, then I'm going to be struggle to do that. And the worst thing is when I go to look at printers that are compatible, it's all taking me back to my old Zettle dock and looking at those items instead. So I've looked through the settings and I can't find anything that's talking about Bluetooth enabled on this device, which makes me believe there is no Bluetooth on here, which really does limit to what other hardware I can connect to it. Okay, so the fact that you have to use this hardware to get the printer isn't the end of the world. And the fact that, you know, having to be worrying about the charging is just something you've got to work around with your particular business. So making sure it's charged fully each night, them sort of things. And whereas this device is absolutely excelling at, especially with the clients we've been putting into their hands, then it's definitely going to be if you have a pop-up shop somewhere, or you're at a festival, or anything where you're not guaranteed to be able to get a really good internet connection, well, then this becomes an absolute godsend. This becomes the difference between you would be able to take anything that day and having to just utilize this and possibly some of the limitation that comes with it. Now, my second observation is just how frustrating it is that this is such a locked down ecosystem. So we mentioned the fact about the dock, and it's pretty much seems to be the only way, but we will research into it, seems to be the only way to actually print anything off. But it also means that that's the only way we can interact is if you're going to be utilizing software that's already on here. And why that becomes a problem is that Zettle now doesn't have its new Zettle Plus solution that I tried to allude to in one of the previous videos. There is no option to now upgrade this software to the Plus version where you had extra features and everything else. The only features you have is what's on here, which is the ability to sell products, which is obviously the most important bit. So thumbs up for that one. In the last video, we looked at how we had the option to print out order numbers, but we weren't quite sure what those order numbers really related to. And there doesn't seem to be software that kind of works with it to find those order numbers, especially the software that comes with the device here. If you wanted table service and having the option to be able to take orders, get that sent to the kitchen, all of that functionality we can't have from here because we're restricted with the software that's just installed on this. Whereas, unfortunately, if I went back to this device and I use my iPad, for example, I'm open up to a lot more opportunities. Just an example, we put some software in for a client the other day where with their iPad they can walk around their tables, they can take their orders, that order gets sent to the kitchen then gets told what that order is going to be. They deliver that order for them, and at the end of the experience, when it's time for pay the bill, then the customer walks over or the person can go to the customer, and at that point then they can settle the bill. That's a really good customer experience, isn't it? You imagine you walk into a cafe or a restaurant and imagine that the idea is that, well, I can take your money now and I can take your order now, but you're going to have to pay for it now. Nando's and them sort of people, they kind of have made that a norm, but most of the time that's not the norm, is it? The norm is you will keep adding to it. And from a customer experience as well, normally that tends to add upsell and everything else, because as a customer's there and you can offer them another drink or whatever it's going to be, and you're just adding to the bill each time. That there is a great way of keeping your business from adding those upsells at time and time again. And we kind of lose that from here. Also, Zettle has on their website all these integrations they have, and there's some fantastic integration solutions. And again, put comments in below, is that a video that you want us to go through? But although Zettle's promoting all these integrations, none of them work with the terminal. Now, this is early days for this terminal, so maybe and should be just a software update away for having that compatibility. The fact that we don't have Bluetooth possibly could limit some of that issue, or at least we don't think there's Bluetooth there. But I'm really confident that once the updates are here, and there is actually an update ready to rock and roll on this, that maybe that will start bringing in this extra functionality. All we really need is almost like an app store or something to install on here, so that this hardware can then start integrating much better with some of those other software solutions. I think the future's bright. I absolutely love this technology, and for some of the clients who don't need the bells and whistles, this is an absolute game changer. But for any client out there that needs a little bit of extra, then unfortunately this and an iPad might well be the better solution for them. And please let us know in the comments below if there's anything you want us to go through on this, then put it there and we can start looking at more in-depth videos of how this solution comes into play. One of the things we're definitely going to be looking at is, again, Square terminal versus the Zettle terminal. And what I'm also interested to look at as well is putting this into hands into some of our clients and letting you know their experiences as well. So get yourself subscribed, get yourself liking this video as well. My name's been Aaron Patrick. This video, as always, has been an absolute pleasure to do for you. Hopefully you've been able to see that the Zettle is an amazing device, but currently has a few flaws. Keep an eye on our channels though, because we're more than happy to give you some updates. Now, before you go, quick one. I've just gone to the settings page. I do actually have a battery saving mode just here. So maybe that's going to be a solution for the battery option. Stay tuned to find out if that makes any difference whatsoever. Funnily enough, it says also turns off or restricts background activity, some visual effects and other features like Hey Google. I don't think Hey Google is involved in here, but we shall see. So I'm going to turn that on and let you know if that's made any difference whatsoever. See you in the next video. Bye for now.